with Alert Day coverage now. This is Wave News.
Get the sleds ready. More snow is coming. Yeah, that's why it is an alert day. Did you ever build your snowman, by the way?
No, because of the ice. It ruined everything. It made it a lot harder, so it didn't really give me the chance to do that. But today might be the day. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, we're keeping an eye on, of course, my snowman potential. And of course, the roads around the area. The storm tracker out and about and not dealing with any issues where they are. But Olivia will talk a little bit more about some other issues that we're running into this morning. Right now, we are seeing some more of those cloudy skies overhead. And that snow still slowly but surely trying to make its way into our region. Not quite there just yet. Winter storm warning in place across most of our area. This goes until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. But even if it's not snowing right now, we are still just cold across wave country. 18 degrees in Frankfort, 25 for those of you in Litchfield, 21 degrees right now in Paoli, and 22 at the airport in Louisville. As we head over the next 12 hours, here's what we're going to see. Some flurries trying to move our way as we get closer to 8, 9 o'clock with a better chance of that snowfall as we get into the late morning and then the early afternoon. After lunch is when we have the best opportunity for more of that moderate to at times heavier snowfall making its way into wave country. Going to keep that chance around all the way through this evening before everything moves out around midnight tonight. Temperatures, by the way, this afternoon will be sitting in the 20s. Now, most of us are going to be talking about around 3 to 5 inches of snowfall. Looking for some slightly higher totals for those of you south of the parkways because you're going to be closer to that low. But for those of you north of Louisville, we're also keeping an eye on the potential for some locally higher totals in your area because of the way that front and that low may interact later on tonight. In terms of potential road impacts, we're looking at some slick roads this morning, snow-covered roads as we head into the afternoon and evening, and some of those will linger into Saturday before those crews are able to get out and get things done. So that's something to keep in mind as we look ahead. But we're dealing with some other issues this morning, Olivia, that we have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, Tawana, and usually a car pulled off into the shoulder wouldn't cause many issues, but right now it looks like that seems to be the case on I-65 southbound near Eastern Parkway. We'll get to that in just a second. But I want to start with this crash on the Shawnee Expressway. This is on I-264 headed westbound. It's right by Bell's Lane. It looks like we have the left-hand lane blocked off there due to a crash. Traffic really open in that area, though, so you shouldn't be dealing with too many impacts. Just be aware of all those flashing lights. People could be walking around working on this crash right now. But here's what I mentioned on Eastern Parkway. It looks like they may have just cleared it out. We saw some flashing lights there giving drivers a heads up, but those shoulders not cleared off, and when cars have to pull over, they're kind of still poking out into the right-hand lane there, so that can kind of cause some issues this morning. But again, it looks like they just cleared that out within the past 30 seconds or so, so that's some good news there. But everything else is looking clear right now. Shannon.
Thank you, Olivia. So Kentucky and Indiana still digging out of the rounds of snow and ice that hit Sunday and Monday, and now we have more snow again coming today. Many school districts out, including JCPS, with concerns still over the safety of travel and getting students to school. The Metro Snow Team has been expanding their routes to clear more roads. Road crews have worked more than 100 hours to clear paths. Their work is far from over. Louisville's mayor giving people a deadline to get their cars, though, out of the emergency lane so that the cleanup can continue. Wave News reporter Marissa Burke is in the storm tracker this morning, taking a look at the progress around town. Marissa?
Shannon, they have been busy, to say the least. I know I had to listen to the interview twice when Greenberg said they've used 30 million pounds of salt already. So when you see some of these trucks, they're actually trying to get more salt to be able to treat the roads. I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera around so you can see what we're looking at. You see all the snow piled up on the side. We're on National Turnpike heading over to Rutherford Elementary School. We've been looking at the different parking lots of JCPS schools and seeing how the teachers will be able to park their cars and students being able to get around nice and easy. And the JCPS snow team has been just as busy as the Metros. So again, they have been active trying to clear off so these kids can get back to school. I know a question some people had was, what all can be done to prepare for the next wave of snow that we may see? And this is what Mayor Greenberg had to say.
We know that the road that you travel on is the road that's most important, and that goes for everyone in our city. So once we can take a deep breath next week and evaluate all of our operations this week, we're going to reevaluate all of those snow routes. For example, why is not English Station Road in the East End on the snow route? That's an incredibly good attention. That needs our attention right now. It's getting our attention, but it was not on our list of snow routes that we inherited before this historic storm.
Some of the areas Mayor Greenberg was mentioning are areas of focus that include the 110 snow routes, primary JCPS routes around U of L's campus and around the Norton Sports and Learning Complex. So again, we're still en route to see what the parking lot looks over at Rutherford Elementary, and we'll continue to bring you those updates because again, JCPS snow teams have been extremely busy clearing off their parking lots. Live from the Storm Tracker, Marissa Burke, Wave News.
Thanks, Marissa. Of course, once the snow starts coming down today, it can be hard to know what streets are safe around the metro. That's where this map comes into play. This is something we've been showing you all week. This is the Metro snow map. You can see all these purple ones are ones that have been salted and plowed. But here's the thing. This has been happening all week. So how do you know what the most updated information is? Well, when you zoom into certain areas, we're over here near the Shawnee Park area. I click on any of this, and it can show you the exact times and dates when any of these streets were plowed and salted. You can see there was one yesterday. They actually came by twice around the noon hour yesterday. Here's the thing, though. When you're also looking at this, you can see that there are lots of these that are still not technically on the city's snow routes. That's part of the mayor's plan to continue to expand these routes and get the trucks on some of these areas that haven't seen as much attention this time around. So let's say you're on South 40th Street right now, and it is just a sheet of ice out there, and as the snow comes down, it keeps getting worse. That's where Metro 311 comes into play. Go to Metro 311. Request services is what you want to do, and the city wants to hear from you. They need to know these areas that need some attention. So you click on request services. That'll take you to an area to fill out exactly what you need. And also, it's super simple if you just want to put it on your phone. They have a mobile app that makes it very simple and easy to report all of this. So here over the next 24, 48 hours, as we get more snow and things continue to be very, very cold, this will be very important for letting the Metro know what areas need help. Shannon?
Thank you, Josh. Transportation leaders are reminding drivers to clear off their cars completely before going on the roads. Look at this busted windshield. A viewer sent this to us. She says a sheet of ice flew off the truck right in front of her and then landed on her car. Fortunately, she was not hurt. She pulled over for safety. Transportation leaders say you should clear every part of your car from snow and ice, including the windows and roof. And pouring hot water on your windshield is one of the worst things you can do to try to remove the ice. You can crack your windshield. Also, do not punch the ice. The two best ways to safely remove ice is using a de-icer or your car's defroster. A Louisville restaurant that had been offering emergency overnight shelter during the winter storm was forced to send people away for not having the proper permit. The Streetery in the Beachmont neighborhood opened its doors this week, offering free warm clothing, hot meals, and a place to sleep for the night. Thursday, the restaurant got a notice of violation from the city. It's ordering the business to stop operating as an overnight shelter until additional permits can be obtained from Metro codes and regulations. The Louisville Fire Department says the business must apply for a change of occupancy permit, even for temporary use, since the fire and building codes have specific requirements based on the use of the property.
It's sad to all of us because there's a lot of people that was coming in here that they could use the help and just to get warm, and now we don't have that, so now we got to go back to the streets.
The restaurant's owner says the business will continue to give away blankets, warm clothes, and meals to those who need it. And as we're getting ready for that snow, it's the perfect time to download that free Wave Weather app. Our Wave Storm Tracking team is constantly updating it with the latest forecast. And you can also share any pictures you take with out in the snow right there with us. The app is free. You can find it in your app store. At least 10 people have now been killed due to those wildfires in Los Angeles. Just horrible. The danger and devastation taking over. People who are escaping say they have no idea when things will get back to normal. Thousands of structures, homes, schools have been destroyed. And we spoke to a Kentucky native who now lives in California. She had to evacuate. Taylor Webster has lived near West Hollywood for the last 4 years, just miles away from the Hollywood Hills area. Now the newest fire of concern is a Sunset Fire there. It's burning about a mile from the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She had to evacuate her house yesterday, and she's watching what's happening. And she says she's lucky because so many people have lost everything.
It was the Sunset Fire that started. That was really the closest to me. That's kind of what made me decide. I was like, okay, I'm not in a mandatory evacuation, but I'm going to voluntarily evacuate. I do have, friends that have had to evacuate because they, in their backyard, they're looking out their window of their apartment and it's just complete flames. They don't have anywhere to go anymore. Their entire house, their apartment, is now no longer there, and they just have to find a new place to go, which is just completely devastating.
She says she's going to stay in a hotel in Nevada until she feels it's safe to return. LMPD Chief Paul Humphrey says an officer who cited a pregnant homeless woman for illegal street camping while she was in labor should have handled this situation differently. Lieutenant Caleb Stewart was seen writing a homeless woman a ticket near the corner of East Washington and Hancock Street in September. The woman said she needed an ambulance because she was in labor. Now, Stewart called her an ambulance, but still cited her for street camping. Stewart is later heard on body camera doubting that she was in labor. And Wave News asked Chief Humphrey about this yesterday when he came to our studio. He says he can understand Stewart's reasoning, but says he would have handled it differently.
We get lied to every day, right? So Lieutenant Stewart's reasoning was he felt like she was using a medical condition to get out of enforcement action. Shows after the fact that she wasn't, right? So that's an error that was made based on sound reasoning. It just happened to be wrong.
How would you have handled it?
Yeah, how would you have handled it?
I just wouldn't have given her the citation. I would have done everything the exact same way and sent her on the EMS.
The woman cited while in labor is scheduled to appear in court on the charge January 29th. Indiana State Police say an Orange County deputy is still in critical condition after being shot several times. State Police say Deputy Zach Andre is sedated and on a ventilator and in intensive care. Police say Andre was shot 4 times, including once in the head by Austin Sheppers last Friday. LMPD officers then shot and killed Sheppers after a standoff on Wheeler Avenue Saturday. State police say doctors and specialists, though, are optimistic, and they say Deputy Andre's fight is impressive. We have a link where you can donate to support his recovery and his family on wave3.com. Here's Tawana taking a look at the next 12 hours on this alert day.
And for this morning, we're just cold and cloudy, but as we head towards lunch, this is when more of that snow will be taking over our region, and we'll be talking about some of the heavier snowfall this afternoon and evening. I'll break down the totals that we're expecting across the area and talk about a few more snow chances in the forecast over the next 10 days after the break.
Kentucky lawmakers had their 3rd day of legislation. Education was the big focus. We'll have more details from researchers about turnover coming up on Sunrise. So funny how snow makes people want to make chili, right?
Ooh.
Yeah, so if you need the ingredients, head out this morning.
Yeah, go this morning. I have a soup mix that I really want to try, so...
Tonight's the night.
I think tonight's the night. That's what I'm having for dinner. I'm excited. For those of you heading out right now, we're keeping an eye on this massive system that is moving across the country right now. You can see everywhere from parts of Arkansas all the way into Georgia. Yes, Atlanta getting some of that snow right now. But here at home, we're just watching the impact that this front off towards our northwest and the area of low pressure off towards our south, the impact they will both have across our area as we get into the second half of your Friday. Right now, the radar is making it look like the snow is just enveloping us, but most of that still off towards our southwest. It's going to take some time before that snow actually moves in. We're just dealing with the clouds overhead right now. Looking into Bardstown, things are quiet, and really just cold out there this morning. You can see the roads look A-okay, but we know that not every road is okay this morning, so if you are traveling, just make sure you're taking it slow just in case you hit some of those slick spots, even on those treated roads. The windstorm warning is in place from now all all the way until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning for the majority of our area. Your temperatures are sitting in the upper teens and low 20s, and for many of us, you're actually seeing your temperatures climbing out ahead of this system this morning. As we continue throughout the day, here's what we're going to be seeing. Some of those flurries starting to push in after about 7, 8 o'clock, with a better chance for those lighter snow showers as we get into the late morning and towards lunch. Now, after lunch is when we see some of the heavier snow starting to push into our region. Temperatures this afternoon hovering in the 20s in most locations. Going to keep those rounds of moderate to heavy snow for the afternoon commute and into this evening. This is why Shannon mentioned if you have any errands to get done, get them done in the morning before more of that snow moves in. Once we get towards midnight, the majority of that heavier snow will start to exit the region, and then we'll see some quieter conditions for the weekend. So let's break down how much snow we're expecting across the area on top of that near foot of snow that some of you have on the ground still across the region. We're going to see around 3 to 5 inches of snowfall for most of us. Those of you south of the parkways could see some slightly heavier totals. Now keep in mind, as I mentioned, we're watching the interaction between that front to our northwest and the low to our south, because as they get closer to each other later on this evening, we could see some enhancement of the snowfall, especially northwest of Louisville. We'll keep an eye on the trends to see how that evolves for the second half of the day. That will be more of a minute by minute, hour by hour kind of situation. For our potential road impacts with the snow moving through this morning, we're talking mainly those slick side roads across wave country, but as the snow gets heavier for this afternoon and evening, a lot of these roads will become snow covered. And as we get into tomorrow morning, many of them will still be snow covered because, of course, those crews are working hard, but it would be impossible for them to touch every single road overnight, even as that snow continues to come down. Now, as we get throughout the second half of your Saturday into Sunday, this is when we'll see some improvement in terms of what the roads will be looking like across the area. Something that will help with some of that road improvement will be some sunshine coming our way on Sunday. Notice for your Saturday, we're going to keep the clouds overhead, some flurries around, some more of that sunshine on Sunday, and we do look to try to cross over the freezing mark for an hour or two for Sunday afternoon before we see some more of that light snow showing up on Monday. And then Wednesday of next week. Now, we're keeping an eye on the temperatures for the middle of next week because into Tuesday and Wednesday, we're talking upper teens and low 20s for highs for both of those days. And as we head into Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, and Thursday morning, most of us will be seeing temperatures in the single digits as we wake up. We do finally get above the freezing mark for basically all of us towards next Friday and Saturday, but that's also when we have yet another system trying to show up in wave country, and this will bring some more rain and snow back into our forecast. So it doesn't seem like we'll get a break for very long.
Okay, thanks. Breaking this morning, South Korea's acting leader has accepted the resignation of the country's presidential security chief. Here's Olivia to explain why in this breaking news alert.
Yeah, this is just part of the fallout from the former president's declaration of martial law 5 weeks ago. The chief of the Presidential Security Service, Park Jong-joon, has been questioned by police because his forces blocked law enforcement efforts to detain impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol last week. Yoon has been at his official residence in Seoul and has not left for weeks. The Presidential Security Service has fortified the grounds with barbed wire and rows of vehicles blocking the roads. Park said his duty is to protect the president and warned of bloodshed as critics said that his agency is becoming Yoon's private army. Meanwhile, the acting leader has called for lawmakers to reach a bipartisan agreement to launch an independent investigation into the December 3rd incident and the subsequent fallout. We'll be right back with more Sunrise right after this.
Here's a look at the current Kentucky Lottery jackpots. The Kentucky Lottery, over $5 billion in grants and scholarships.
Will we have an alert day anymore in the 10-day?
As of right now, no. Things are going to be quieter, but still we have a few snow chances showing up as we head over the next 10 days. So for today, we have that alert day because of that accumulating snow and at times heavy snowfall for later on this afternoon into this evening. Now, once we get past that, the weekend is looking quieter. We're going to see some clouds overhead for your Saturday, some flurries flying here and there. Overall, a lot of us going to be stuck in the 20s for afternoon highs tomorrow. tomorrow. But we do get some sunshine coming our way on Sunday, and that will help to warm us up a little bit more then. Now, Monday and Wednesday of next week, we could see a few quick systems pushing through on those 2 days, helping to bring some light snow into our region. That is something we'll watch the trends on. Tuesday and Wednesday of next week will be substantially colder. We're talking upper teens, low 20s for highs, morning temperatures in the single digits in most locations. But we do look to rebound. Finally, there we go. This is what we like to see, right? Some upper 30s, some low 40s showing up for the end of next week. But notice it comes with another system trying to bring more rain and snow into our forecast, and also dropping our temperatures down behind it. So a lot to watch as we head over the next 10 days. But we do have some warmer weather coming our way. We'll take it, Shannon. We'll take it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Education was a focus for Kentucky lawmakers on the third day of their legislative session. Lawmakers heard from experts on how the highest and lowest performing schools in the state were doing. Experts spoke about the teacher turnover rate in Kentucky and the impact that is having on students. Researchers found the lowest performing schools saw an average turnover rate of 21%. They spoke to lawmakers about the reasons behind that.
Some factors affecting teacher turnover are outside of a school's control. These include the proximity of schools with much more competitive salaries, higher performing student populations, and affordable housing.
Researchers also talked about some of the factors that are within the school's control, including the working conditions for teachers. And by the way, that book that we showed, The Kissing Hand, oh, it is such a good one for kids. Oh yeah, those road conditions in Louisville really haven't improved because we haven't warmed up enough. We're going to have a look at some of the issues on the roads coming up on Wave News Sunrise as more snow is coming down today.
With Alert Day coverage now, this is Wave News.
Get ready for more snow to come down right now. Okay, what was this number that you were just sharing?
So 11 inches of snow. That's the Louisville total so far since with this system this past week.
Since Sunday.
Since Sunday. That's how much snow we've
seen. And now we have 4 more coming.
So we have potentially for 4 more on the way. And by the way, our season total 11.8 inches. Our season normal 13.4. So yeah, we look to beat that before the week is up. Welcome to winter, y'all. We have a winter storm warning in place across most of the region that goes until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning as we are watching for more of that accumulating snow in our region. Right now, just the clouds overhead. That is it. That snow starting to show up, though, on the radar, not quite making it to the ground just yet across our area. Temperatures are actually warming up out ahead of that snow, so we're still seeing some of those upper teens for those of you along and north of 64th. More of those 20s showing up in Columbia. You're now up to 27 degrees for your current temperature. Going to keep those temperatures in the 20s for the majority of the day with wind chills at times trying to dip down into the teens, but for most of us we're talking low to mid 20s for our wind chills as your Friday goes along. Now this is what everybody wants to know, right? When is that snow moving in? We're going to see some of that light snow moving in as we get into the late morning hours, but the main snow chance really starts to go up around lunch, and we're going to keep those snow chances high for the afternoon. Keep in mind that snow can be heavy at times, which means for that afternoon commute, it is going to be a difficult one for many of you. So you want to make sure you are planning for that. Most of us talking around 3 to 5 inches of snowfall for today. That's on top of the 11, 12 inches that many of you have seen this week. And we're going to be talking about a few more rounds of snow as we get into next week as well. But we'll just get through this one first, Olivia.
Yeah, please get through this one. Taking a look at your traffic, we have some good news. They have cleared that crash on the Shawnee Expressway. And also those cars that were pulled over this morning, it looks like they are back on the road and cruising. So our traffic map is looking all clear with no incidents out there. Our Metro traffic cameras, though, are showing how dark and quiet it is this morning. Really not many cars out there, but that's something we've seen all week. Luckily, those employers seems like have let their people stay home from work or just work from home. The kids staying home from school, too. But be aware of that snow coming down for our evening commute. So we'll keep an eye out for that. But for your morning commute, everything should be looking good. Shannon.
Thanks, Olivia. Well, so many kids, as you mentioned, still out of school. That includes the state's largest district, JCPS, and they made the call because the road conditions really haven't improved. Marissa Burke is in the Storm Tracker this morning taking a look around the area. Marissa?
Good morning, Shannon. We are in the South End area. We're right here. We're at Rutherford Elementary, and you can see the JCPS snow crews have really been busy. The parking lot here is pretty much clear, ready for people to drive and drop their kids off. But I'm going to show you how bad some of these side roads are. Now, we're going to something that's less than a block away from the school. And I just want to, you can see this is West Southland Boulevard. You see, again, this road is nice and clear. But as we turn onto the side street, you can already see ice. It's just iced over, and the way the Wave weather team has been talking, this road is one that will continue to get worse. Like, look at it. It's just completely glossed over. So just think of if some of these kids are attending Rutherford Elementary, this is what they're going to have to get through to get to school. That's just so close. So we're continuing to see that these are the roads that the snow teams continue to talk about of why they're trying to treat all around, across the metro. And here's what Mayor Greenberg said about why they didn't use brine as a technique for this winter storm.
The air and the road surface temperatures are too low for brining to be effective, and there's already so much salt on the streets. Again, we've applied 30 million pounds of salt to our streets, much of which, I know some has been washed away, much of which, though, is still on.
Again, this is just this area near the Rutherford Elementary School, and it's just completely iced over. This is just one of many that we have seen as we have traveled through and looked at the different JCPS schools, and we'll continue to tell you how some of these road conditions are looking across the metro. Back to you.
Thanks, Marissa. Now, of course, you can check out all the road conditions across the metro with the Metro Snow Map, but it's also, you can also check out how things are going on in Indiana. So this right here is the INDOT map, 511in.org, and this will show you essentially how the highways are doing. Now, I want you to look at all this because all these little orange bits right here, these are all snow plows that are already out and getting ready for all of the events that are coming through today. When you look closer to our area, we don't have too many. They're between here and Evansville, but you can see when you click on the blue, it'll also show you the live camera, a look at what they're doing right there. Now, if you want to get a closer look at our area, we can just go ahead and get to this next bit here. There are cameras all along the interstates that'll show you current conditions as well. So let's go ahead and click here near Clarksville. You can see, obviously, right now, no snow in our area here just yet, but this is going to be a very important resource if you're trying to get around in southern Indiana. Now, here's another important resource for you. If you run into any sort of issues on these interstates, say there's a big sheet of ice or a wreck that you're noticing, you can contact INDOT and let them know about the problem. The easiest thing to do here is to go to their Contact INDOT page, report a concern. They actually have a winter weather section that you can fill out a whole thing for. So again, a very simple way, when you get to this, by clicking on the menu section here on the INDOT camera, contact INDOT. Very simple, and they need you to report all these things so they know that the areas that they need to head out and check out. Again, lots of crews out this morning getting things ready and being prepared for all this snow that's heading our way. Shannon?
All right, thank you. So a lot of kids out of school today. Some districts are on NTI. That includes Anderson, Carroll, Meade, Oldham, and Spencer counties. And some Indiana schools are also on NTI. That includes Clarksville and North Harrison schools, Crawford and Greater Clark County schools. Also part of those doing a traditional snow day. To see all of the schools that are closed and businesses too, you can go to wave3.com. JCPS, again, is closed, but not on NTI. It's a traditional snow day, and that's mostly because the kids were not given those Chromebooks before they left for the holidays. So they've been out now for 3 weeks. Stay ahead of the winter storm by downloading that free Wave Weather app. Our storm tracking team will send you alerts about snow timing, snow totals, and road impacts. This is a really great tool to have, keep you informed about all the latest developments. Scott County Sheriff Jerry Gooden is suing the county. He's asking a judge to restore millions of dollars in funding. Sheriff Gooden says his office needs a budget between $4 and $4.5 million. Gooden says the county only provided him with $1.7 million. Gooden says the budget is so underfunded, he had to move jail inmates to other counties and prepare his patrol deputies to be jailers. Council members exploded during a meeting the day after he filed the suit.
You want the Gooden tax to show up on your paycheck to pay the sheriff's department.
It is the responsibility of the county council to properly fund the sheriff's office, adequately fund it.
A judge ordered the county to restore about $77,000 in cuts to pay salaries and fuel for the next 45 days. She also ordered the sheriff's office and county to go through mediation. They're due back in court at the end of the month. Older patients are seeking medical marijuana in growing numbers. To get the medication in Kentucky, a patient has to be diagnosed with a qualifying medical condition and get a recommendation from a state-approved practitioner. The Medical Marijuana Center in Nulu opened in September. Doctors there diagnose patients and make treatment recommendations largely for people seeking relief from chronic pain. One doctor found out that the average age of his patients is 61. The Kentucky Medical Marijuana Center saw 3 patients in its first month in September, but last month they saw 98, and baby boomer curiosity continues to grow.
We have a lot of older patients that medical or marijuana to them is very taboo. They're like, oh, I don't do this, but like I'm interested in seeing if it works.
They are all for it. My grandmother, she's 96 years old, and she is completely for it.
Doctors are hoping the legislature will expand the list to make medical marijuana available to more patients. All right, let's check in with Tawana on this alert day.
And for today, we're going to need the jackets, the coats, and of course that Wave weather app as we watch more snow moving into our region as we get into the late morning and then the afternoon, with some of the heaviest snow expected for the afternoon hours. So keep that in mind as you are planning your day. I'm going to break down the timing, those totals, and talk about when we're going to see those temperatures slightly above freezing after the break.
Oh, it's so horrible what they're dealing with right now in the Los Angeles area. Breaking overnight, 10 people killed, more than 100,000 evacuated. So many without power right now. So many people have lost everything as these wildfires continue to tear throughout Los Angeles County and California. Here's Olivia with more in this breaking news alert.
Yeah, the word we keep using is apocalyptic. Now, within the past 24 hours, the Palisades fire has gone from 0% containment up to 6%, so at least showing progress there as they fight it. Officials say that's due in part to the winds dying down, but the devastation's still tragic. Almost 20,000 acres burned. The Palisades fire isn't the only one they're dealing with. There are a total of 5 active fires in LA County alone. More than 800 firefighters with the help of fixed-wing aircraft and helicopters are battling the blaze. But officials are also trying to prevent looting in the evacuated areas. At least 20 people have been arrested in the county for looting during those wildfires. So much going on out there. Shannon, Tawana.
Thanks, Olivia. And we're continuing to keep an eye on this massive system that's impacting most of the southeast, everywhere from Memphis to Paducah to Atlanta, dealing with some snow as of right now. I'll let you know how this system will affect us in just 30 seconds. Meteorologist Tawana Andrew here with a check of your alert day forecast. And I know snow lovers are loving the forecast for today. If you don't love snow, yeah, today's not your day. What we're continuing to keep an eye on, this massive system across the eastern half of the country. We're watching a cold front pushing towards us and this area of low pressure off towards our south. These are going to work together to bring some wintry weather across the southeast and straight into portions of Indiana and Kentucky. As of right now, that snow only coming down in Paducah. We are still watching, though, it's slowly taking over the upper levels of the atmosphere with clouds really overhead out in our area as of right now. Peeking into Bardstown, starting to see more cars on the roads to start off the day. The roads in this particular shot are great, but we know that many of our side roads are still slick or still icy, so you want to make sure that as you're heading out this morning, you're taking it slow and you're being very cautious. A winter storm warning in place for the majority of our region, and that goes until tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. We do have a winter storm watch still in place for those of you in, I should say, winter weather advisory in place for those of you in Lawrence, Jackson, and Jennings counties. That goes until 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. Overall, yes, it's cold to start off the day with those clouds overhead. Temperatures have actually been warming up as we're getting closer to sunrise, and that system is getting a little bit closer to our area. You're now up to 27 degrees in Campbellsville and Columbia, still sitting at 22 at the airport in Louisville. You're up to 17 right now in North Vernon. You were at 11 degrees when we started sunrise this morning. So we have been watching those temperatures warming up, but they're not going to warm up very much as the day goes along. Futurecast shows this. We'll see some of that light snow pushing into our area as we approach the 9 o'clock hour, mainly in the form of flurries. And as we get towards lunch, this is when more of that snow starts to gradually take over our area. At this point, it'll be light to moderate snow that we're expecting. Now, through the afternoon, some heavier snowfall expected. Going to watch that through the afternoon hours into this evening as temperatures hover in the 20s. And it's not till we approach midnight that we start to see that snow really moving out of our area, with some flurries trying to linger into your Saturday. I know everybody wants to know, how much snow am I going to get at my house? Well, for most of us, we're talking around 3 to 5 inches of additional snowfall. But for those of you further to the south of the parkways, just because you're closer to that low, you could see some slightly higher totals. But the other thing that we have to watch is how that low and the cold front that I showed you interact as we get into really this afternoon and this evening, because we could see some locally higher totals, some banding of some locally higher totals in areas further to the west and northwest of Louisville. Where that sets up shop is something that we'll have to watch minute by minute, hour by hour later on today. Now, with the snow coming down, we have to keep an eye on the roads, because many of you are already dealing with issues with those slick side roads this morning. But through the afternoon into this evening, those roads will become snow covered. So for those of you maybe having to work that full shift today, this is something that you want to keep in mind. And we're going to keep some of those roads snow covered into tomorrow morning before more of those crews are able to get out and work on them. They've been working these 12-hour shifts, working very long days, so shout out to them. But they do have a lot more work ahead of them as we see more of that snow coming our way. Getting into tomorrow, as I mentioned, some flurries flying, the clouds overhead, highs upper 20s and low 30s. Some more of that sunshine coming our way on Sunday as we do our best to climb towards, and for some of us, get over the freezing mark. A few more light snow showers possible Monday and Wednesday of next week. We'll keep an eye on how much moisture will be with those two systems, because that will dictate how much snow we actually get falling and accumulating across the area. The middle of next week looks substantially colder behind that Monday system. In fact, we're talking about highs only in the upper teens and low 20s for Tuesday and Wednesday, with morning temperatures Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, and Thursday morning in the single digits. If we have more snow on the ground, then these temperatures will be colder than that. So I'm going to give you that heads up right now. As we get further into the end of next week, we're going to gradually warm up, finally above freezing, yay, towards next Friday and Saturday. But of course, Mother Nature is apparently mad at us, because she's going to drop our temperature right back down once that system moves through next weekend.
Thank you, Tawana. The family of a man who was hit and killed by a shuttle bus at the PGA Championship is now suing the PGA and others for negligence. John Mills's family says the PGA, Valhalla Golf Club, the bus company, and the bus driver did not take proper safety steps to protect him. Mills was a worker for one of the PGA's vendors at the championship last summer at Valhalla Golf Club. A bus shuttling fans to the event hit Mills as he was crossing Shelbyville Road during the early morning of May 17th. This happened just before the arrest of golfer Scotty Scheffler. Mills's family is seeking payment for damages suffered due to the loss of their loved one. LMPD has arrested a man they say is responsible for a murder on New Year's Eve. LMPD says Robert Hanley shot and killed Quante Burris at a house on South 13th Street. An arrest report reveals Burris's girlfriend called several people to her house to get Burris to leave after a fight. Police say Hanley and Burris also got into a fight at the home, and Hanley shot Burris in the chest, killing him. Hanley is charged with murder and possession of a handgun by a convicted felon. Here's Olivia taking a look at the big stories we're following from around the country and the world today.
President-elect Donald Trump is scheduled to be sentenced in New York in his hush money case in less than 2 hours. He was convicted in May of 2024 on 34 counts of falsifying business records over hush money payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels during the 2016 presidential campaign. The sentencing comes after a 5-4 Supreme Court decision rejected Trump's emergency request to delay the proceeding. Trump is expected to appear virtually for his sentencing. Rudy Giuliani faces a contempt of court hearing for the second time in just a week. This case is because Giuliani allegedly continued to make false insinuations about 2 Georgia election workers long after they won a $150 million defamation verdict against him, and he agreed to stop slandering them. On Monday, a federal judge held Giuliani in contempt for failing to turn over information to the election workers as they try to collect their damages. And the highest court in the land will decide the fate of TikTok. The Supreme Court agreed to expedite the video sharing platform's First Amendment case. At issue is a ban Congress passed in April. It requires TikTok to either shut down or find a new owner. The ban had bipartisan support on national security fears surrounding the app's Chinese ownership, but now the court will consider whether those fears outweigh TikTok's First Amendment rights. The app is currently facing a deadline of January 19th before the law kicks in, and if we lose it, I know so many of us will be probably pretty bored. Those are some of your top headlines. Shannon will have more local news coming up in your Wake Up Watch list.
Oh, it's been so cold. The weather hasn't been very helpful at all to melt the snow and ice that hit the area Sunday and Monday. And now we have more snow coming today. Metro Snow Team has been so busy. Marissa Burke is live in the Storm Tracker this morning as we all wonder, when are the kids going to go back to school?
Shannon, that's a hard question to answer. We're in the South End area, and we know that JCPS has done a great job of clearing off their parking lots, but then you have roads like this that's near Rutherford Elementary School that are just iced completely over. And again, the Metro team has said that they've already used 30 million pounds of salt to treat the main roadways and everything that we've been seeing around Wave Country. That looks pretty good, but then you have, again, all of this ice right around the corner from the elementary school, and in some parts leading up on that road that leads to the school. So just be safe if you're out there, and again, we'll continue to monitor the roads and wait for this wintry mix to clear out of Wave Country. Live from the Storm Tracker, Marissa Burke, Wave News.
And we are continuing to keep an eye on the winter storm warning and the winter weather advisories in place across our region for today all the way into tomorrow morning as we watch for more snow pushing our way. Right now, it's only snowing towards Paducah. We are keeping an eye on the clouds and the cold temperatures, though, to kick off our day. Many of us waking up to those temperatures in the teens and low 20s. But as we get into the late morning, this is when we'll start to see more of that light snow moving our way, with more of that snow taking over towards lunch and through the afternoon. The afternoon hours and into this evening, this is when we have the best chance to see that heavy snow and the accumulating snow. Really talking about still that 3 to 5 inch range across most of the region, but we could see some slightly locally higher totals in a couple of spots, and then we'll see quieter conditions showing up as we head into the weekend.
We have one car pulled over on 65. Looks like it's near Fern Valley Road, but keep an eye on situations like that because we don't have much of a shoulder, so those cars could still be poking out into the expressways. But right now you can see all our interstates are all clear right now, but be aware of that snow that's coming in. I know I have a friend who's texting me right now asking if she can make it to Lexington this morning.
And you said, yes, just hurry on back.
Just get back quickly.
Right. Well, hope you have a great weekend. That Today shows up next. It's Hoda's last day.
Oh.
Get live streaming news, 24-hour weather, investigations, podcasts, and more, all for free with Wave Now. Watch on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and the Wave News app. Sponsored by Circle K. Fuel you can trust.